Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case, this time focusing back on the white car situation, which supposedly appeared at the highway at some point where Noah Presgrove's body was found at. Some references to Tyler Hardy, trying to piece it together, make sense of it. We did do a previous video acknowledging a brief topic and theme of the white vehicle and how it may or may not link to the satellite imagery because it was a white vehicle parked up at the party house, which is still lived in by someone or some people till this day, as mentioned by Brooke Bounds-Carter, which was a surprise to me because how it's been described elsewhere from the opposition online, it's abandoned. So switch and change, typical over such a simplistic situation, but nevertheless, there is activity. But what's the activity status like with the white vehicle mystery? How significant is it to the case, and does it link to Noah's death or any possible tampering of evidence and more? I think we've got some screenshots and past conversations to look through. I'm just going to read them today, analyse if I can, break it down and apply it further if necessary. Welcome to anyone that is currently watching this live premiere. Feel free to share your thoughts and reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And if you're watching till the end of this video or on catch up, be sure to drop a comment down below under this video to let me know your additional thoughts. If you've got any questions, whether you agree or disagree with the significance of today's topic, and I can always respond back later. You'll also see a pinned message below with additional links, and if you want to become a member on the channel, that's all below. And big shout out to one particular individual in the background for support from last night. They'll know who they are once again. Very good of them. If you want to catch up on recent coverage by me, the top right screen up there, you'll get the I symbol. Click on that. You get the drop down menu box with the full playlist to all my coverage on this case and some other loose videos too. With that being said, the order of how we'll do things today, I'll start off with the Facebook post, read through it, try and understand it, see if there's any comments and responses, and possibly conclude. Without further ado, let's begin. This was posted the 11th of December by Joyce Burgow on the Army page. It reads, Jack Newton stated in both interviews that the driver was touching Noah Presgrove, but Tyler Hardy, I'm guessing, says that for 100% that no one touched Noah Presgrove to his knowledge at the time. And besides Jack Newton, the reference by Caden Pressey and then further about supposed highway footage showing tampering with Noah's body, that occurring before the likes of Tyler H and Tyler Hardy came on down. By the time Tyler and Tyler Hardy came on down, no one was there. So it's normal for the likes of Tyler Hardy to assume that no one's touched Noah's body, we're here first. But technically, they weren't there first, were they? If we're basing it off, Caden Pressey's timeline at least. Nevertheless, Joyce says, also, this white car was supposedly at the scene and leaving when Jack Newton was pulling up. Tyler Hardy says there was no white car. Was this white car there at the time Jack Newton came back from waking the boys at 5:15 a.m.? Makes you wonder. Because the likes of Tyler Hardy and the other Tyler H being present, that was at around 5:43 onwards. The situation with Caden Pressey, his timeline, and when Jack was supposedly there, or coming back more so to the house, and then back to the scene, 5:15 a.m. onwards, up to at least 5:30 from when, at that point when Caden and the guys were told to leave and Jack remained. So there's some little periods of time where a white car could have been present, possibly. Right? But for Jack Newton to state in both interviews, we'll see the photos anyway, just here. Hopefully, I don't know if it's one or two, but we'll just work with what we got. Tyler Hardy here, one of the callers that called the police. Yes, I was the one who found the body, so yes, I can say with 100% that nobody messed with Noah. It's quite bold for him to assume that, but then at the same time, in the moment, more so at the time, and with the exception of beyond, if you're engaging online, and providing, if conditions are met, that you have not done any research, you could think that nobody has messed with Noah's body. But when you take into account what Caden Pressey supposedly saw earlier, then compared to Tyler Hardy, but more so compared beyond to Jimmy Williams under sheriff, Noah's body, positioning of it besides the shores, supposedly adjusted. Why is that? Well, Caden Pressey originally said that Noah's body, legs and arms sprawled out on the side, body, on its side, with the neck like really twisted, broken neck and all you'd expect. But Jimmy Williams, when coming across Noah's body, yes, on the side, neck twisted, that was consistent. As for the arms, they weren't tucked in. So does that mean they were sprawled out? Who knows? Wasn't clear, very vague. But the legs were straight. Caden Pressey said they were sprawled out, but Jimmy Williams said they were straight. Why would that change? Well, if someone has altered the position of the body, moved it slightly, that's what would happen, right? Legs don't just suddenly start closing on themselves, especially if you're dead, right? So that could tie in with the possible removal of shorts, because take in mind, when you're taking off clothing, sometimes you've got to reposition your body so it falls off better, or so you can pull it down. If you spread your legs and you're pulling underwear down, it's not going to come off as easy. It might even rip or catch. Same with the shorts. I think it does come down to the fitting. Naturally, when you're putting on clothes, lower body, or taking them off, your legs are going to be closed. If you spread your legs, it's going to be harder. So that's why, if Noah was found at first legs spread, and then someone or some people decided to remove the shorts, would have to close the legs. It's pretty simple that you think of it with common sense. So that just alone highlights that the body had been messed about with. But if Tyler Hardy didn't do his research at the time in regards to that, then kind of missing that full perspective. Is correct, he is definitely stating facts. What? There was no white car. It was a white 2019 F-150 owned by Gulfmark Energy that was there, and a white semi owned by OPA. Right. I don't know if Tyler Hardy is talking in third person here, but it was mentioned that Tyler Hardy was in a pickup truck, an F-150, and the semi was by the other Tyler H. That was almost like at the front of the line, as other vehicles were behind, including Tyler Hardy, as you see on screen. This F-150, is it the same one what's mentioned here by Tyler? Instead of saying, oh, it's owned by Gulfmark Energy, would it make more sense for Tyler to say, yes, this F-150, which I was driving at the time, which is owned by this company? Wouldn't that make more sense? Is that it for the photo here? Do we not have anything else? Ah. As you see the comments, who's John? I don't know. Joyce, this is an old screenshot, but I don't know who John is. What I was thinking, never heard his name. Could it be a fake account? Who knows? Does anyone know how many times the semi turned around also? Tyler H alludes to one time, but some people believe 2 times. If we're talking about the semi-truck, it wasn't able to stop in time because there was vehicles behind. I guess as for Tyler Hardy, who was behind that queue, was able to stop because no one was behind him, I'm guessing. Jeremy, assuming that actually is Tyler H's official account that is being used to state that, and that he's stating the facts, God, I love the internet, too many stories, too many variations. I mean, if Tyler is simply basing it off what he saw, fair enough. But that's only one side, one perspective. If other things happened earlier when he wasn't present, he just wouldn't have that full understanding and may deny certain stuff. Donna Barton, I thought everyone knew the answer to this. Tyler H was not the first person on scene. He thinks he was. Yeah. But before he got there was 2 other vehicles, truckers, that were there. And those were the ones that Caden Pressey saw. Yeah, that's how I see it. Which was a semi and a white service truck. And they left just a minute or 2 before Tyler H got there. I mean, yeah, that's like how I've seen it after all this time. Doesn't it quite explain the situation with the white car? It's like people are, or Jack Newton at some point, referencing a white car. And I don't know if it's from Jack Newton's mouth, but I do remember it being mentioned by someone about a white car coming up to the scene. Kind of like stopping, a person getting out, a passenger, and then either taking shorts or adding white shorts and then leaving. Just like that. A little bit random and odd, right? If that really was the case, switching, removing shorts would then... How does that link with the supposed highway footage, which shows some people removing the black shorts off Noah? Isn't quite tying well. And it does seem very weird how you got two different sets and pairs of truckers, or drivers at least, if you want to put it that way. First wave did not call police, second wave did. It's just a bit weird. Doesn't make sense. Who owns the white car? Who is Christy Howard? She's just a member who had asked a question. Oh, so what? No, not related to anyone? Yeah, I thought there would have been a bit more to it. Shame we don't have the screenshot of Jack Newton. To say in both interviews, which interviews are them? Partners in True Crime, a few months ago. And then is the other interview News Nation. Now, I've just jumped to this post which dates back to the 18th of July 2024 because it's actually a relevance to this white vehicle and what I was briefly touching upon before. As to who said it, I've no bloody clue. But, you know, when it comes to searching for keywords on Facebook and past posts, it's never easy to find what you're looking for. But then again, that can apply in life. It's you just make do with what you've got. And this is what we have on screen right now. Donna Barton, credit to her. I found this post a while back and just remembered I had it. So let's just give it a bit of a read. You might be familiar with it already, but we'll see what the comments are like and what people have had to say in response. As for what Joyce Burgow was getting at in terms of Jack Newton, have I actually seen Jack Newton make references to the white vehicle? I can't remember, to be honest with you. Would have been nice to have a screenshot or two, but maybe we do that in a separate video. Break it down bit by bit. Just try and absorb it all. So someone, it's not great, is it? But someone said, apparently, 2 truckers happened upon Noah's lifeless body on the side of the road. Who are these 2 truckers? Tyler H and Tyler Hardy, or the earlier set of drivers, unnamed? One of the truckers apparently said another vehicle came by and a kid popped out of the passenger side, ran over to the body of Noah, like it wasn't clearly visible that there would have been a body there, being it was shielded by the 2 trucks, but the kid seemed to know where to go. Scooped up the shorts, which ones then, and replaced them with another pair, probably the white shorts, and then got back into the vehicle and left. Ellie is supposed to be aware of these very important details, but it turns out that's not the case whatsoever, and it's still not clear why the details have fallen off the chronology of events. And if Ellie is reading this post, the trucker is still waiting for you to give him a call. Well, if this trucker was Tyler Hardy's contradicted himself clearly. If it's not Tyler Hardy, it could well be the unnamed drivers from earlier on around Caden Pressey's timeline, the unnamed people. But if that was the case, it would have to be either after or before Caden Pressey showed up. And we'll make more sense of that shortly. I don't know if this has been debunked yet or not, but I can give my thoughts on it. What's this? A layout of where he was found, the Party House River, Old White House. See, this isn't relevant to what we're really looking at, but because it mentions the term white as a key word, it shows up anything. Unfortunately, it's not exactly specific Facebook searches. You could type in a range of different words. You could call it big yellow juicy peach. Is it going to come up with a photo of a peach and discussions about one? No, it'll come up with other posts which use similar keywords, but not all of them, even if it's just one. Could be juicy grass, banana, yellow skateboard, things like that. It doesn't do the job. It's fucking useless, if I'll be honest with you. But I've never seen this post by Joyce, so if you want to check it out yourself, you can. Just seems to be the outline of the property and whatnot. But we'll just check the comments here. Scooped up the shorts, meaning the black shorts were already off and they just tossed the white pair in the road. That does seem a little bit odd, especially with Caden Pressey's recollection and on top the highway footage, supposedly. First time I've seen this. Do we have an option to look at the newest? I'm just wondering. 5 months ago. Oh, I was hoping there might be more new, but maybe people don't always return back. Very important. Wow. First time I've seen this. So at least from what I remember, it kind of ties in with what we've read here. I think we should just go onto the maps right now, just to put into perspective. Moving towards the highway over here, because that's where the main focus is, roughly speaking. I'll do street view in just a second. Now, you would have heard me just before make a reference to either before or after Caden left. Well, like before Caden arrived or after Caden left, in which a vehicle could have showed up, white car, kid got out. A kid? Really? No, probably more so young adult teenager. But who exactly would that be? Male, female? Party goer? Maybe. White vehicle? Who does it belong to? Who's the driver? From the party house? Is it the same vehicle from the party house onwards or before in the years in which Brooke Bounty-Carter said that looks like what one of the parents would drive? Oh, could it be a parent driving one of the party goers? But at what time exactly? And would they be leaving the party house or coming or going? What's the deal? And why would there be a parent or an adult there? It was none at a certain time. It was afterwards, beyond, when people started arriving, especially at 6:05 onwards, going up to like 7, 8 a.m. If it's much earlier, then what role do certain people play? It's one of those things where it's like a lose-lose situation where one concept, an idea, can contradict Caden Pressey's timeline here, and then the other concept can contradict just the supposed highway footage. If there is hard evidence of highway footage and tampering with evidence with an actual timestamp too, the general public haven't seen it, so you can be skeptical, you can doubt it, but those that may have seen it, and it's definitely hard evidence, definitely relevant, gives the time, a date, year and all that, on the correct time and date, well, that's going to be stronger and rule out other stuff. You can't have both things, can you not? I wonder. So if I just get a bit lower down, a person gets out of a vehicle. And I'm not saying that this is from what Jack Newton said, in case anyone wonders. I didn't see anything mentioned by Jack. I tried searching on Facebook, didn't see anything. That's just typical. Unless it was posted elsewhere, unless someone was blocked, unless comments and posts were deleted. You start looking back at previous things, it just doesn't show. I mean, I know Jam Sandwich said they remember the Stevie Howard post, but when I told Justin Roy, the response was, can't find it or can't remember it. So you see what happens with time. If people like us can forget, because it's a human thing to do, then the same can apply to partygoers to an extent. It happens. Got to try and take notes, got to try and document and archive as best as you can, but there's only so much you can do. But if a vehicle does stop, a person gets out, instantly knows where to go. Well, they might have an idea where to go, whether there's a body visible or not. If there's bloody vehicles parked up in a particular spot, right? Could give it away, possibly. To place shorts down and take the others away would sound like, first, take the black shorts away, replace them with the white. Well, if that did happen, it couldn't have happened before Caden arrived. Because Caden said when he did arrive, the shorts were on Noah's body and they were black. No reference to anything in the middle of the road. But when Caden Pressey was told to leave at around 5:30, and it was only Jack Newton and those unnamed truckers or drivers that remained, at that point onwards, before Tyler Hardy passed by, or stopped and made a call, between a certain time frame, a very small, tight gap, time window is possibly and more likely when it would have happened. But if there is that hard evidence out there of a police officer or volunteer firefighter or two, some others total of 4 or 5 people present, some in uniform, others not. And they're the ones responsible and recorded for taking off the black shorts. And then doing what exactly? Is it possible that the, what would you call it, theory, rumour of a white car driving on down from up there, parking up nearby to get out, collect the black shorts, replace them with the white ones? Was it a joint operation in which before that white car was present, those officials or people of higher authority, off duty or off the record, showed up early, did take the black shorts off Noah's body, but did not replace them for the white ones because they didn't have them at the time? And did they wait until someone in a white car driving a passenger to come on down, and then that passenger, that kid, in quotes, got out, retrieved those black shorts from which the officials took off, gave the officials the white shorts, then got back into the car and drove, back to the party house, back home, wherever? So then the remaining people who now have the white shorts were about to put them back on Noah's body to make it seem like nothing ever happened, but was too late because ahead there was lights from the Tyler H and Tyler Hardy traffic coming on down. So they may have panicked, threw the white shorts up in the air, and they landed in the middle of the road, which is just very weird, and then drove off quick. So by the time these truckers arrived, or a trucker and the pickup driver came by, they just assumed that they were first on scene. It was Tyler Hardy that said Noah was naked. It was Caden that said Noah wasn't naked, but in terms of the order of how things could have played out, both people are correct, possibly, when you think of the factors in between and how stuff changed. So you can possibly put an argument across and say the removal of shorts could well have taken place, and the hard evidence proves that with a certain timestamp. And then, shortly after that, a white car comes down to give the people alternative shorts and take the black ones away. And then things proceed onwards as what we've heard. It is possible to fit in, but the timing of it, it's very tight. It's a tight window. So is it believable? Is it likely to happen? I want to know your thoughts. So to dial back to Jack Newton, I'm trying to focus in now. In both interviews, Jack Newton supposedly consistently referred to a driver. So one of the truck drivers or the pickup driver, which would be Tyler Hardy, but that's onwards. That if you add in Caden Pressey's timeline, and if it was true, then technically Jack Newton was present at least 2 lots of times at the highway. Earlier on, around 5:15, just before, then coming to the party house to let people know, then heading back to the scene, then remaining there up to some point beyond, because Caden left in between. Then Jack, leaving again? To then come back to the scene once again at around 6 a.m. onwards, at the time when Tyler Hardy and Tyler H are present. The reference from Joyce Begam that Jack Newton supposedly stated the driver touched Noah Presgrove's body. Which driver though? Tyler H, Tyler Hardy, or earlier on, based off Caden's timeline, unknown truck drivers. If that's the case, it could possibly imply that the truckers were there before Jack, maybe. But even if Jack was there first and then the truckers came along, touching the body to see if there was a pulse. See, that's the thing. Touching a dead body could be considered dodgy. You shouldn't be doing it. You could be tampering. you could be harming evidence. But at the same time, if you're unsure whether the person's dead or alive, checking for a pulse, that's something better than nothing, right? Instead of just completely thinking, oh well, whatever, it is what it is. Just like how others, maybe dispatchers, thought no point calling an ambulance. There's still a certain procedure. And there might be, to an extent, a procedure where people will check the pulse of somebody, whether that be a member of the general public or a certain service or authority. Maybe some people won't check a pulse or get close because they just don't want to be around a dead body, and that's normal. But if you got these hardened truckers that aren't that phased, and one of them is touching Noah's body, and Tyler Hardy is saying no one touched the body, well, likely, at the time of when Tyler Hardy was present, no touching took place, to his knowledge. But with supposedly a first wave of drivers being present earlier, before that, Tyler wouldn't know, would he? If anyone had touched, if anyone has been present beforehand, if anyone had removed the shorts. I mean, to Tyler's knowledge, no one tampered with the body either. But supposedly, that did happen. But before Tyler Hardy was present, the same could apply to the body being touched during the process of removal of shorts or for other reasons as well. Does that apply to Jack Newton being present at a point in time? Well, when telling the story with others, links and factors which may link to Caden's, then what Jack says may tie on with that. So wherever the factors and bits and bobs go, Jack follows, not literally, and is in that spot with the Caden Pressey timeline possibly. So the touching may have took place, but not on Tyler's watch when he was there, but too late to the party. You're not going to know what happened beforehand, so I've got to take that into mind. Maybe Tyler didn't at the time, at least. But then, supposedly, at the time of when Jack Newton is arriving, a white car is already leaving. Well, if Tyler Hardy was the one to say, I didn't see any white cars, no one touched the body, but let's just say those two events did take place, they would have had to have happened earlier. And it just so happens that there is a time slot earlier where you got a different pair, the first wave of drivers, truckers or some sort. And that's when Caden Pressey was present. But Caden Pressey did not see a white car. Caden Pressey did not see anyone touching Noah's body like that, but Jack did. Well, let's just remind ourselves, based off Caden's timeline, Jack is the one, at least out of the party goers, the first one to notice, to find out about Noah's death firsthand. Hence why Jack comes back to the party house to let everyone else know. So by the time that takes place, when returning back to the scene, because Jack did return back first, as the others were stumbling about, Caden looking for his other shoe, hopping around, and I guess the others waiting for Caden because he was the driver, and the girls remaining at the party. There's a time period where once Jack returned to that scene, whilst waiting for the others to come along, a white car may have just left at that point. But still, even if that was the case, does that tie in with what we saw just before in terms of that like text conversation, Facebook Messenger, where it said a kid got out the passenger seat, took shorts, black ones, replaced them for white ones, then got back in, then drove off? It can't be, because Caden Pressey said, based off all this timeline and events, as soon as he got there, Noah was wearing shorts, but they were still black. So it doesn't tie in, does it, with the order? That's what the problem is. Unless there's two sets of white cars, wouldn't that be ironic? The second wave of a white car was after Caden and the guys left. And whatever else after. It's a mess. I'm just trying to put it in order. You can have different timelines and different stories, but as long as there's no overlap, you could try and piece them together and see if it does make sense. And if you tried piecing it all together, even though the traffic may not be that much on the road, it seems like a major hotspot when you add up all the people that were at the highway, whether it be all at the same time or one after another. A fair few people present. If you count Caden Pressey, Brylan, Mikey, Isaac, Jack, truck drivers, Tyler Hardy, Tyler H, the other truck drivers. That's at least 9 people at the highway. Maybe not all at the same time, but that's a good portion of people, isn't it? Present. Big crowd. You had on Jimmy Williams, Jeremiah Wilson, an officer earlier, 2 volunteer firefighters. You're getting on to about what? I can't even count, I'm useless. 15, maybe 20 people over the course of a time frame. That's a lot for a small little spot where Noah's body was supposedly found at. Now, when I said about the possible timing of when Jack returned back to the scene after letting people know at the house, because he didn't stick around long enough from what Kane said at the house, a white car may have left, but then who was missing from the party house then possibly, if it had been linked or associated with the scene and a person getting out, if that's the same thing. And if not, when I said a second wave of a white car, the earlier one, the first one could have been some random person nearby. There was a discussion at some other point where some people were getting out, oh, a white car, yeah, it parked up, no one got out, and then it drove off. Could have been a stranger, and they didn't want to hang about. Could they not turn, did they have to turn around, or were they able to continue on north? I don't know how blocked the road was at that point, but there's that. Not really heard much else. It's very fragmented, these type of discussions are all scattered about, so it's hard to get everything together. Is there enough hard, solid evidence? No. Doesn't seem to be any. There might be the odd witness that states this or that, but that's what the problem is. If there is supposedly someone touching Noah, how well do we know that? Oh, through the highway footage. But does it tie in with the timing of Jack's concept? Maybe not. Does it tie in with Caden Pressey's, the highway footage? A little bit more, yeah, I guess. It's very messy, this. The problem, not being able to do it just yet, but I'll try and do it at a later point. I believe the side-by-side rollover, that there is no video of it, and possibly Jack Newton made that reference. I'm not going to go all in on it just yet because I need to wait and see what happens next, and then maybe if I've got material, then I'll try and look at it. It's very rough at this moment in time, but even if that's the case, and it's shocking, but some people truly believe it. So you'll believe Jack Newton when he says this, but you won't believe him all the other times when he said other things. Is it picking and choosing? Is it selective? Possibly. You base off the pattern of, well, if everything else that's been said in the past has been a lie or not exactly true, or there's not enough structure, foundations behind it to support it with enough validity, and the general public are already skeptical, then what creates that U-turn where suddenly now, oh, people do believe in this or that, or the next thing that comes out of Jack's mouth? Well, ultimately changes. But then again, you've had the contrast with Caden Pressey, where more people believed Caden Pressey at first and bowed down to him, and then with time, some turned on Caden or just simply changed their mindset because of more time to think and compare notes with what others and other stuff's been said. I mean, I didn't bow down in the first place. I acknowledged the positives and also the negatives, but obviously I'm different. So I think we'll leave it there for now. I'm just working with what I've got, and I'm just adding in with my memory as well. I think the timing of it doesn't quite link in. I do feel that what Tyler Hardy, Tyler H experienced was unique to themselves, but with being late to the party, they did not see what went down earlier. And even Caden Pressey, who was there earlier, didn't get the full picture either. Something may be happening in between that time. Something possibly happening before the time Caden arrived, if Jack Newton was at least one of the first partygoers on site. Now, I'll just leave you with one question, and I'll just bring it up once again when I do a live stream tomorrow. I'm going to try and do an actual live stream, same time as usual as my live premieres, but it's a live stream where I can respond to comments because it's live, literally. But the little question I drop right now is, based off the weight of Caden Pressey's timeline, and when you look at the highway situation, you know, I've actually forgotten what I was going to say. That's great. I've actually forgotten what I was going to say then. So I'll have to try and rethink what I was going to say and bring it up tomorrow. That's a great way to end the video. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit the like button, that'd be appreciated. Share it if you want, and we'll see what happens next. I don't know if some people may be underwhelmed by this, but yeah, I'm just doing what I can. So I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.